Welcome back to Rookie Watch. I'm your host, Nose. This week we've got the Falcons, but first I want to point out Terrell Posey's pick 6 in the last game of our previous episode earned him Player of the Week honors. You'll also notice on there Lamar Jackson of the Falcons, who we're taking on this week. And due to his performance, Terrell Posey has a breakout chance. Now, it's really hard to go from superstar to X Factor through these challenges. I don't think we're holding him to less than 100 or getting Posey 3 picks, but there's an outside chance at 3 turnovers for the team. Now, after the last game and 5 episodes with the new sliders, I decided to boost user pass coverage sliders back up a couple points. I think it was originally 55. We dropped it to 50, and that seems like it's just been a little bit too much. Surtain should basically be the greatest man coverage corner of all time. I don't think you can be better than his ratings aside from more athleticism. That doesn't mean I expect him to be perfect, but he's gotten toasted a little too much. And Posey has struggled at times a lot more than he should. He doesn't have great press, but he's been iffy even in just man. They've been doing weird things that don't look right, so changing this for now. Madden, I think you have the wrong Lamar Jackson here. Anyways, we do have an upgrade for Parker Finley. I think a lot of his highlights don't end up making the final cut. Just wanted to appreciate him, and that's actually a +2 upgrade, which will help because we're taking on Lamar Jackson, of course. Still a freak athlete and also has a really good arm. His X factor is pro reads, which seems kind of odd. They've got a good young running back in Trent Ingram, a couple of young guys behind him. Not sure how much we'll see the rookie Devontae McDowell. Drake London in the 99 speed Carlos Townsend will give us a lot of trouble, as will Kyle Pitts. I honestly have no idea how we're going to cover him. We don't have anybody with a skill set to be close to that. The offensive line looks quite good as well. Some holes in the skill set, but if we look at who Lamb's going to be against, it's going to be mostly Chris Lindstrom. And the guys next to him are pretty good pass blockers against power as well. The front 7 for this team looks pretty good. No huge stars, but all in the 80 to 85 range, or playing there with morale and other boosts. Not a whole lot of youth, though. They might have to rebuild that in the near future. The cornerback room is awesome. AJ Terrell is still really good. Okuda's turned out well. They've got some playable younger guys and a pair of pretty good young safeties. That's an interesting duo to develop together. I did want to point out we are not on a record watch in this episode. Watt broke that record in the first year of the sim. Rousseau tied it a couple years later, and then Garrett surpassed both of them by a lot a couple years after that. But a couple more would get Lamb on the board, which would be cool. Gonna be tough to get anything against Lamar Jackson though. Let's get this one started in Denver. Atlanta has the ball first. Lamar passing quickly. It's popped into the air and intercepted by Parker Finley. He's going to have some space to return. Lamar makes a touchdown-saving tackle, but I don't think that's how anyone saw this one starting. Broncos will get the ball at the 14-yard line. What a start for this team, and they turn it into points. Javonte Williams actually ran it in from the 5 on 4th and 1, and that's a bad first down miss for Jackson. Don't know what he was seeing. Now here's Trent Ingram on the run, breaks a tackle from Finley, breaks a couple more tackles, and he's going to have a first down. More tackling issues for the Broncos. Falcons are at cruising altitude right now, and Jackson finds Kyle Pitts for another nice pickup. Denver needs to find an answer for him. So far, I'm not sure they've found the question. 3rd and inches here, and they're going to throw for it. Nice play by Drake London, good route. It's a tough matchup for Terrell Posey. Falcons now going for it on 4th and 1 from the 3-yard line. It's going to be a handoff to the fullback Mason Stockey, and he is in. Touchdown Atlanta, but Denver would answer right back. It's 14-7 Denver. This might be the last play of the quarter. Lamar finds Townsend, and he's known for his speed, but fighting through linebackers to pick up the first down. It's a play fake to Ingram. Blitz coming, and Lamar has no chance. I think that's Ojabo's first sack in a while. Leads to a 3rd and 14. Jackson gets out to Pitts, but Posey manages to hang on to make the tackle. Denver would have to punt it right back, though. 8:24 to go in the second quarter, and Surtain knocks that one away from Pitts. I don't think he's going to be able to be the answer all game, though. The receivers are simply too good to be using him that way. Here's the rookie McDowell out of the backfield on 3rd down, but out of bounds short. Unfortunately, Rosenberg would go ahead and throw an interception. Falcons are on the 14-yard line. Same place Denver was after Parker Finley's interception. They'll pick up just a few here. That would lead to a 3rd and 7. Eric Lamb is pushing this pocket in on itself, and Lamar's just going to throw it away. The turnover only yields 3 points. Denver would follow that up with a score of their own. The extra point was blocked, however, 20-10, under 3 to go, and Lamb is in the backfield to take down Ingram. Browning helps wrap him up. Falcons do pick up a first down, and we're at the 2-minute warning. Lamar to pass. He's got Townsend again over the middle. Clock running, they will hurry it up. 1:45 to go. London's got this one, and with the slick move, he's upfield. Posey just manages to catch up to him and knock him out of bounds. But it's a big gain. Would have been nice to keep him inbounds. At the 24 now, Lamar going to the end zone. London against Posey, and he just mossed him. Went up and got that ball. Terrell, man, you don't need to get the ball. Just push him out of bounds. Looks like it will be a 3-point game going into halftime. Broncos went backwards on their first drive due to a sack, then a bad punt and a good return netted only 23 yards, and here's a good run for Ingram to start it off. Second down, it's going to be read option. Jackson keeps it, hits the spin move, and he's taken down by Simmons. I think I'd like a quarterback in his 30s to slide there, but he seems fine. 3rd and 3 now for Atlanta. Lamb breaks through, and he's going to get just enough of Ingram to take him down. That will make it 4th down, but the offense isn't going anywhere. Big Ben on the field. It's going to be the fullback. Diablo misses a tackle, and he's going to pick up 6 yards. A long 1st and goal for Atlanta. In the I-form, handoff is to Ingram. Met by Finley, but he breaks the tackle. Ojabo can't make the play, and he gets in. I think Farley actually tackled Finley, but the lead is short-lived for Atlanta. 3rd rushing touchdown of the day for Javonte Williams. 27-24. 4 to go in the 3rd. Lamar looking to pass. His own guard in his face, but he gets it downfield to Pitts, who is wide open. He's going to be across midfield. Couple more chunk plays for Atlanta, but they slow down. It's 3rd and 2 from the 14. Lots of I-form today for this team in these short yardage situations. It's going to be a handoff to Ingram, and a nice play by Baron Browning to stop him short. They'll take their 3 to tie. And Javonte Williams now has his 4th touchdown of the game. Denver is just barely staying ahead, and it's all due to the offense, not the defense. Lamar pressured, and somehow they're going to pick up 5 on that play. 3rd and 4, a little over 6 minutes to go. Trips left. Jackson fires over the middle. London found space in the zone. He'll have another first down. Too many weapons for this defense to keep track of, as good as they've been this year. Ingram's finally taken down on first contact, but now Eric Lamb is shaken up on the play. Thankfully, he would only end up missing a couple of plays. 5 minutes to go. 2nd down for the Falcons. Jackson wants dabs, but it's knocked away by Farley. Lofted it a little too much to the outside. 3rd down, and now Surtain knocks away from Townsend, and they're going to have to punt. No dagger for Denver, though. 2:41 to go. All 3 timeouts for Atlanta. They need to go 80 yards. Jackson's got all day back there. He lobs it up for Daubs. It's knocked away, and that landed right where Terrell Posey was standing. Could have been an easy pick. Instead, it's 3rd and 1. McDowell picks it up, but that's the 2-minute warning. They need to move faster. After a couple quick plays, it's 3rd and inches. Townsend's got it near midfield. He's taken down by Finley. Atlanta up to the 40 now. Everybody on the field breathing hard. Lamar scrambles outside, finds Pitts. He's only going to get a few yards. He's taken down inbounds, but Matt Murray is hurt, so that's going to be a free clock stoppage for Atlanta. It's not serious, but he will miss at least the rest of this drive. 2nd and 4, and Justin Simmons almost ended it. Couldn't quite hang on. 3rd and 4 now instead. Jackson fires right, and now it's Townsend who can't hang on through contact with Surtain. 4th and 4. This is essentially the game. Would not technically be the final nail. 4 wide. Lamar's got time, and he fires to the left, and he's got London, who's been really good today. Another first down. They haven't used a timeout yet. Under 30 seconds to go, and now they'll have to use a timeout. Jackson ran right into Baron Browning, a loss of 17 on the play. 25 seconds to go. They need 23 yards, 2 timeouts. Lots of time. Now Lamb is getting in there, and how is Townsend so wide open in the middle of the field? That is terrible defense. 2nd timeout for Atlanta. 1st and goal from the 5. Lamar's got time. He fires over the middle, and he's got Drake London. Don't know why Winslow is on him, but we're going to overtime. And Atlanta will get the ball first. This is very scary for Broncos fans. Quick shed for Eric Lamb, but Ingram cuts it back. Should have lost yardage, but instead that's going to be a first down for the Falcons. 2nd down and 5 from the 40 now. Play action for Jackson. Pressure coming. He'll dump it off to Ingram, but a good play by Finley to knock it out. 3rd and 5 now. Jackson in the gun. McDowell in the backfield. Probably means a pass, and it is. Fires quickly to Townsend, and Simmons got his hands on it again. Atlanta punts. All Denver will need is a field goal. There's a big play to Sutton. Another chunk play to Sutton. Just a few plays, and the Broncos are already almost in field goal range, and there's a couple more big plays for Javonte Williams. Denver just takes the field goal, and this one is over. It was close, but the Broncos do eke it out. Really good game for both quarterbacks, accepting both interceptions. Denver's did seem very hot and cold, but they put up 34 points in regulation. Defense, of course, allowed the same number, 4 total touchdowns for Javonte Williams, and I just realized Rosenberg had 2. That means it wasn't a walk-off field goal, it was a touchdown. I'm actually only even realizing this during editing, but looking at the receiving numbers, it was the second of the day for John Pierce, 19 yards and a walk-off. I felt like Kyle Pitts had about 50 more yards than this. He was all over the place. Drake London obviously very good as well. So clearly the slider changes aren't going to be making a major difference, but I do feel a little bit better about how the game played. We just had some very good receivers we're going against. And a very good offensive line as well. I got basically nothing going with Lamb all game. Missed a couple of tackles that I should have had, but I don't think I ever had a chance at a sack. Didn't really expect to with how slow he is and Lamar Jackson's speed, but only a couple of tackles for Lamb and no TFLs is a little bit disappointing. Terrell Posey also didn't have a great game. Thought we had a chance after that first play interception, but didn't get anywhere else. Only one other team left in the race for the bye week. Tua Tagovailoa's Steelers are 12-2. Lots of teams still in the hunt for the 3 seed. I believe the Titans and Texans have swapped spots here on the playoff picture. Raiders are still in despite being 7-7, and the Cardinals have taken the top spot in the AFC West from the Seahawks. Houston has actually lost 3 straight. The Titans lost their last game, so I guess they must have taken the top spot in the division last week, unless it was some goofy tiebreaker stuff this week. But it has been a bit of a rough stretch for Houston. They started off very good. 3 close wins to start the season, lost to a very good Chiefs team, beat the Chargers handedly, shut out the Colts, blew out the Packers. Bunch of wins after the bye, aside from dropping one to a very good Titans division rival. But now they've lost to the top seed in the NFC, the 2nd seed in the AFC, which pretty much knocked them out of the running for a bye week, or the 2 seed, and followed that up with an embarrassing loss at home to a not very good Colts team. We've got in the next game, so we'll talk more about that then. But I'm sure this Houston team wants to get back to the way it should be playing before the playoffs hit. They've got Carson Johnson, the number 1 overall pick in 2024. He's really happy to be here in Houston. Number 1 overall out of Western Michigan, by the way. He signed what actually seems like a fairly team-friendly contract to stay. Career numbers look really good, although a little bit down this year. Interceptions up, touchdowns down, yards maybe around where it should be. And a lot of that has to do with the past few games. Same number of touchdowns and picks in the last 5. And he's going to be trying to get back on track against a very good Broncos defense that admittedly has not played as well recently. Dameon Pierce is a little bowling ball of a running back. Not very big, but he plays like Derrick Henry or something. He's nuts. The receiving core is certainly not helping out Johnson much. I don't know if they had a better one last year, but John Mechie III does not seem like a great number 1. Kind of a mess of high 70s guys after that, although rookie George Birch will get the most playing time out of those guys. They've got a trusty old tight end in Juwan Johnson, but it's probably the twilight of his career. Laramie Tunsil is still hanging on to a pretty good rating here. The left side of this line is quite good. It's the right side that I think is going to look a little more iffy. They've got a rookie center who seems more like potential than current talent. The veteran Nate Davis who can hold his own, but isn't amazing. And then Ronald Foster is a right tackle who is not great in the passing game. The defense, though, is where this team shines. They've got a star in Christian Barmore, more talent along the line in Alex Reese and Bruce Winters, and a very good linebacking core as well. Vince Bailey's just all right. They've got a really good young superstar in Justin Kramer. And then the rookie Jaquelin Winslow. We've talked about this guy before. He is an X factor as a rookie, but came in as really just an athlete with potential. He's gotten 4 overall points worth of upgrades this year. Really good in the open field, but he's going to have a lot to work on technically. And part of the reason I didn't want to be him is that they had 2 really good linebackers ahead of him. However, they traded Bobby Donald to the Browns, it looks like. He's actually injured right now. But that means that Winslow has been able to play all season, and he's racked up a fair number of tackles. The secondary, however, is a great unit, headlined by Trayvon Diggs, Derek Stingley behind him, and a really good young corner in Julius McGee. And they've got a couple more good options for when they want 6 defensive backs on the field. Free safety is probably a bit of a weak spot in Jamie Donnell, but Jalen Petrie is a stud. It might be a tough day for Tommy Rosenberg. But first, we're going to see Carson Johnson and the Texans offense First down passing to George Birch, and it's broken up by Surtain. 3rd and 4 now after a completed pass. Johnson to throw, fires, and he's got Mechie. Good route there. Taken down by Posey. 2nd down on the next set of downs. All passes so far, but Johnson is under center this time. Looks like it will be a handoff. Lamb in the backfield, but he can't get to Pierce, and now he's got some room. Wiley takes him down, but he's all the way up to midfield. Real quick, I meant to do this between episodes and forgot, but for some reason, the dime package for this defense, the extra DB is the backup safety for some reason. He has like 67 man coverage, not very good zone either. For now, I'm just going to put our actual 4th corner in there. Might formation sub later. But back to the game, it's 3rd and 7 now for the Texans. Looks like a verts play, and that clears out space for Juwan Johnson. He breaks a tackle all the way down to the 33. A few plays later, the Texans are in the red zone. I formation now from the 17-yard line. Pierce gets the handoff, blocking is good, nobody's there, and finally Terrell Posey will knock him out of bounds. It's a 1st down. 3rd and goal from the 5 now. Johnson is under center, but he will pass. Lamb coming through, picked up by Pierce, gets through again, but Johnson got it out to Mechie. Posey had his back turned, and Johnson just threw him open. That's a really good play for quarterback and wide receiver. Texans lead, but the Broncos do answer back. Javonte Williams again, he had 4 touchdowns last week. 1 minute to go in the 1st quarter, and Pierce is making guys miss. He's got more than 15 yards, 20 yards, 22 to be exact. Teams have been finding a lot of green in the running game lately, and Denver's struggled to tackle as well, but this pass is underthrown. He wanted Tutu Atwell, but underthrew him. Good play by Farley, who was beat on that coverage. He's taken down by George Birch. And here's a chance for Denver to take control of this game. Of course, the Texans' defense is their strength, and they get a stop. Quite quickly, I might add. So no harm done on the interception. Another handoff to Pierce. He's weaving up the middle and fighting through Diablo, close to another 1st down. He is really difficult to take down quickly. 2nd and 3 here. He's bear hugged by Eric Lamb, but falls forward again. Good play by the rookie, though. 3rd and 1, play fake, blitz coming. Ojabo was almost fooled, but he picks up the sack, and the Texans will have to punt. And Tommy Rosenberg is immediately picked off by Jalen Petrie. Texans have it at the 25. Another play fake. Lamb coming in hot, but Johnson gets away to Pierce. He breaks a tackle, weaves past more defenders, and he's got a 1st down. He is looking so good out there. The Texans needed to make a statement at home. They are making it right now as Dameon Pierce barrels through LaShawn Wiley for his 2nd touchdown of the day. Denver adds a field goal, but now it's a chance for Houston to extend its lead with 3.5 minutes to go in the 2nd quarter. Lots of space out there for Johnson, but he's caught by Wiley. Still will be a 1st down. Houston is driving there at midfield. 2.5 to go now. It's a play fake. Johnson fires to Atwell. He's behind him, but a good snag out of the air, and he fights for it. He's inside the 30. That would lead to the 2-minute warning. Not much resistance from Denver yet on this drive. Johnson fires right. Mechie can't hang on through contact with Surtain, and that hit Wiley in the hands. I think it's fair to say he wasn't expecting it, though. 2nd and 10. Throwing over the middle. That's a really nice route by Birch working on Surtain. A really great throw by Johnson as well in terms of timing. 1st down at the 13. Lamb spins his way into the backfield, and that'll force a throwaway. And now it's 4th and 2. Texans are going for it. Lamb is into the backfield, and he gets just enough of Dameon Pierce. So no more points for Houston, but no time for the Broncos to do anything. And then they punt to start the 2nd half, and the Texans are picking up right where they left off. 4th down stop aside. They keep trucking along. It's 2nd and 1 at midfield. 12 personnel for the Texans. Johnson in motion. Handoff to Pierce. Those running lanes are filled. Blockers are getting pushed back, and he's going to lose 3. So perhaps unexpectedly, it's 3rd down. Johnson fires to the right, and it's dropped by Birch. Big break for this Denver defense. Can the offense do anything with it? No. They actually failed a 4th and 1 from the 39. Unfortunate, though I do like the aggression all day for Johnson back there, and he's going to fire long to Johnson, covered by Surtain. Not so sure about that decision, but they're going to convert this 3rd down really easily. I don't know why Divine Diablo is in man coverage on their number 1 receiver. Time ticking down in this 3rd quarter. Houston's all the way up to the Denver 21 now. Pass outside is tipped away by Farley. He got 1 hand on it. If he could have gotten 2, it would have been 6. 3rd and 5 now. Lamb coming in hot. He finally gets home. The ball is loose. Picked up by Laramie Tunzel. They're actually going to gain a yard on this play. But that's sack number 21 for Eric Lamb. He's now tied for 10th most sacks in a single season. The Texans are lucky to get 3 points out of this. If it had bounced backwards, it could have been 6 for the Broncos. Instead, they get a field goal, and the Broncos will tie it up the old-fashioned way, by which I mean a running play to a tight end. But Johnson finds Birch. He hangs on this time, fights for some extra yardage, and the Broncos aren't going to have much of a chance in this one if they can't get a stop. Under 5 minutes to go, it's Birch on the touch pass. He's got room, he's got speed, and he's going to be up inside the 20. 3rd and 1 from the 9-yard line. I do wonder if they'd go for it if they don't pick this up. Johnson's looking to pass. Protection is good. He fires right, and that's maybe the best catch we've seen made against Surtain all year. Touchdown, Birch. And I think Derek Stingley just put the final nail in the coffin with an interception of Tommy Rosenberg. A couple plays later, Pierce will definitely seal it with a touchdown. And then one more interception in the end zone for good measure. I think it was just a Hail Mary. But Carson Johnson and the Texans will get to go into victory formation, and the Texans have finally fallen. Lucky to get this far, I think. Certainly have played well, but there have been a lot of obvious problems with this team all year long. The thing is, those problems have been cyclical. They usually haven't come up all at once, and the first half of the schedule was pretty easy. But things are getting tough now. Dameon Pierce had 50 yards after contact. That is ridiculous. 7 broken tackles. I know it's his strong suit, but it's still hard to see. George Birch looked amazing against us. Absolutely made up for that drop with one of the best touchdown catches that we've seen. I think Drake London's last week was probably better, but this one was on Surtain, and it was a game winner. If you're interested, 8 tackles for Jaquilin Winslow. Really tough day for Eric Lamb. He was double-teamed constantly and just could not win very often. A great sack fumble too, very unfortunate. We couldn't recover that. Despite the loss, we do have an upgrade ready for Eric Lamb. Going back to Power Rusher, only +1 this time, but that'll get him up to a 90 with the boost. 83 overall. We've got an upgrade for Rosie as well. Going to keep dumping these into Improviser when he gets them. And he's certainly improved a lot this year. And then an upgrade for a punter, Jaden Woodbury. Now you might be asking, why are you showing the punter upgrade? Well, the reason is I hope he gets better because he sucks. I went and looked it up. The worst touchback rate in the NFL last year was 13.5%. The worst inside 20 was 23.8%. He's at about 37.5% and 4% respectively. So thank goodness we're taking on the Colts this week. Great opportunity for a bounce back game. I have no respect for them. They have a random win over the Giants, who are quite good, and a division game win against the Texans. But their quarterback is 69 overall, Desmond Ridder. He's actually put up pretty good numbers across 3 years of starting, especially in Vegas where he had Devontae Adams. But I just don't think he's going to look that good. They do have Jonathan Taylor, of course. He's amazing. But that's pretty much all this offense has to offer in the way of star power. Good young receiver in Jarius Judge, nothing crazy. Former Viking KJ Osborne and Theo Waynes, who I keep thinking is former Viking cornerback Trey Waynes when I see him in the ticker. It's not a horrible group, but not a great one certainly. Do note the 99 speed on Judge. Very athletic tight end in Cody Houseman, and their offensive line is decent, I guess. Quentin Nelson is still here, and I feel like every team that we've played for the last 8 games has had a right guard that matches up really well against Lamb, and a center and a right tackle that don't, at least in terms of pass blocking power, and it's been really annoying. Despite having Desmond Ridder at the helm, this defense is actually considered the worst part of this Indy team. Kwity Paye and Vince Cheeks are the only players really worth anything. I think Taron Johnson was much better last year, seems to have regressed a bunch, plus the morale hit, but I think he was the number 1 before. Anyways, it really feels like a defense that has aged out of being good, and they just haven't managed to replace guys with young talent fast enough. I said that out loud, and now I'm thinking about my Vikings. True to form, the Colts defense allows an opening drive touchdown, 7-0 Broncos. Designed run for Ridder on the first play, and he's wrapped up quickly by Matt Murray. That would lead to a 3rd and 8. Ridder looking to throw. Blocking is good. Ridder fires in the direction of Juice, and that's a bad pass interference penalty for Terrell Posey. It was borderline uncatchable, but not so uncatchable that they're not going to throw the penalty marker. That extends the drive. Later on, here's a nice run for Jonathan Taylor. Second nice run in a row, actually, but now 3rd and 2. JT getting it again, and a nice tackle by Parker Finley to stop him a yard short. But it said they were going to kick a field goal, so I simulated, and instead they went for it, got it with a fullback dive. Now here's Draymond Jones getting through. Taylor tried to get away, but could not. Loss of 1, that would lead to a 3rd and 6. Ritter going empty, and now he's going to scramble with it. I think that was a designed run. A little awkward, but he squeezes through. That's a first down for the Colts. They'd get another one. It's now 1st and goal at the 5. But for the pass interference and the 4th down conversion, they wouldn't be here. But here's Jonathan Taylor up the middle, fights through a tackle from Parker Finley, and he is in. That would tie it up, and on the ensuing drive, Rosie throws a pick. We're near the end of the first quarter, and Indy could take the lead on this drive. KJ Osborne takes a shot from Wiley, but he holds on. And I had not realized he was emulating his old teammate Justin Jefferson by picking number 18. Colts across midfield, but not for long. Here comes Eric Lamb to the slaughter, but not the way you think, and that was against Quentin Nelson. That's the first snap today that they've been matched up, and Lamb won it immediately. A good pickup on 2nd down makes it 3rd and manageable, but Ritter doesn't see anything. He's backing up, and Baron Browning just pushed him to the ground, I think one-handed. Denver able to take the lead now. 5.5 to go here in the first half. Ritter looking to throw. He gets it out to his tight end Houseman, and he breaks tackle and almost another one. That's a problem the Broncos need to shore up before the postseason. Across midfield now, Lamb gets a brief look at Ritter, but he gets it away quickly, and that's Jerry's juice again. Big gain for him. He's looking good out there. Now it's a run to Taylor, and Lamb pops him. He shed that block at the perfect time, but the Colts keep moving. Under 2 minutes to go now. Ritter's got time, can't find anybody open. Now it's running out and just flings it out the back of the end zone. Lamb was right on top of him. 3rd and inches now. More pressure from Lamb, and Ritter's going to miss Waynes as a result. So the halftime score is going to be 14-10 in favor of the Broncos. However, great field position to start the half for the Colts due to a penalty against the Broncos on the kickoff. They've already gotten 1 first down, and now they're across midfield with that first down pickup. Now in field goal range, 1st and 10 at the 35. Osborne in motion. It's a play fake. Tons of time for Ritter, but nobody's open. He's just backing up, and Matt Murray is going to chase him down. Murray looked downright athletic on the play. That's the big man. Loss of 14 there. It's 3rd and 18 now. Ritter dumps it down to Judge. He'll be around the original line of scrimmage. They'll be able to kick a field goal. But Javonte Williams answers with a 48-yard touchdown reception. First touchdown catch of the year for him. But the Broncos are trying some zone coverage, and Judge is wide open. That's not their forte. He's going to get a bundle. Colts are almost midfield. But Lamb is bullying the guard, and he's going to get to Ritter. Throws him to the ground. He had no shot. And you've got to appreciate the absolute swagger that Eric Lamb brings to this defense. Watching it again. Right around Doyle. Right into Ritter's face. Hurls him to the ground. And that's the look of a quarterback who feels defeated. That's going to make it 2nd and 20. Clean pocket for Ritter this time. He fires downfield, and he's got Theo Waynes for a first down working on Patrick Surtain. They get it all back. Colts do lose a yard on first down. So it's 2nd and 11 from the 44. Ritter to pass, fires left, and it's intercepted by Parker Finley. He's got Green in front of him. I don't know if he'll have the speed to take it all the way, but it looks like he will. Touchdown Broncos, and it's a 2-score game. I think that's the 2nd defensive touchdown of the year for Denver. If I'm remembering correctly, the other was Justin Simmons in the Chiefs game, the first one. And Houseman was open, but Ritter threw this way too late, and Finley was able to make a play on it. 3rd and 4 on the ensuing drive. 28-13. Ritter goes long for Judge, and he's got him open. Simmons couldn't get there over fast enough in the deep zone. That's a pickup of 35 and a field flipper. 3rd and 2 now from the 24. Ritter's got Houseman open, and he just dropped it right off his hands. They have to settle for 3. Denver answers right back with a field goal of its own. And how is Jerry's Judge so wide open against Surtain? Get that man some coffee. Indy's worked its way downfield, but they're facing 3rd and long from the 23-yard line. Presumably it's 4-down territory, though. 6.5 to go. Ritter's got good protection. Fires downfield. I thought he'd miss Jerry's Judge, but the pass was actually for KJ Osborne. First down Colts. 1st and goal, I should say. Ritter takes the snap. Lamb gets through. He fires off the mark to the end zone, but Waynes is able to bring it in. Tough play for Posey. Thankfully, Denver answers back with another field goal, so it is not a one-score game. 3.5 to go. Colts need a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal just to tie, but that's a good start. Up to midfield now. Clock stopped at 2:55. Conservative zone from the Broncos, and Lamb gets around a double team. He throws Ritter to the ground. That's his 3rd sack of the game. Number 24 on the season. That'll tie him with Rousseau and Watt. For second all-time, Myles Garrett is a long way off at 31 sacks, but that'll make it 3rd and 15 for the Colts. Ritter from under center fires and the pass is off the head of J.R. Poole. He was 5 steps behind his man, and now Ritter just throws it up to Osborne. Varley knocks it away without difficulty, and the offense will run out the clock from here. Win number 15 for Denver. That will clinch the 1 seed for them, as the Steelers were upset by the Dolphins last week. Tua's old team, if you can believe it. Really good, efficient day for Rosenberg aside from the interception. Helps that Javonte housed a screen pass. Ritter was pretty much what I thought. Not particularly electric, but generally pretty safe. Not a good run game for either team, but aside from 2 early good runs for Taylor, we locked him up really well actually. 35 yards after contact, but when you're getting 3.1 yards a carry, that pretty much just means you're breaking tackles in the backfield. Jerry's judge was ridiculous, and this is going to be impetus for me to put the sliders for pass coverage back where they were. He was murdering us all day, especially in the medium game, and he has really good catching ratings, but his man coverage is like a 67. More on that later. Great game for Lamb, though. 3 sacks. All of them felt really good. 6 total tackles. It's been a while since we had a game like this. Of course, it's been a while since we've played a quarterback this bad, which is when we were getting those, but it's still nice. Back to that tidbit about sliders. I'm putting pass coverage back to where it was at 55. I think the quarterback play was essentially fixed by the accuracy boosts, but I'm seeing Surtain constantly short-circuiting, just doing dumb stuff, and just plain getting beat when he shouldn't be. I mean, it's all Madden. It shouldn't be simple. But Surtain is essentially the best man corner of all time. Together, he and Posey are almost certainly the best man duo of all time at cornerback. I think Posey's up to an 88 or so in man coverage. He was getting beat all day. Surtain was getting beat in a couple of notable spots at least. And if we look at the route running with current boosts and debuffs, KJ Osborne has 83 short, Jerry's Judge has 84 deep, and there are no other 80 plus route runnings on the entire team. Where we were getting primarily beat was Judge in the medium game. He has 66 medium route running, which is awful. I'm not saying he never beat us fair and square. There were a couple of zones that they totally beat schematically. That deep ball that he caught, which was a really nice catch by the way, highlights his great catching ability. His archetype is essentially speed in hands. But there was a whole bunch of other stuff where our corners just shouldn't be getting beat that often. I'm not going to boost it up any higher than where it originally was at 55, since that's what the slider set I'm using was. Maybe early in the season was an anomaly, and it won't be the way that it was before, and that's fine. I just think it went way too far in the other direction. Parker Finley earns Player of the Week awards. Josh Allen got it on offense over 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a loss. The last game of the regular season will be against the Titans. They are pretty good if inconsistent. The scoring is pretty high for both teams in all of these games, but sometimes the offense just doesn't show up, and that's usually when they've lost games. They're a game back of Houston, but they do have the tiebreaker based on division wins, so they could take it with a win and a Houston loss. Otherwise, they will have a wildcard spot. The team is led by Trey Lance, and over the 2 years of this series, I've seen him show up a number of times in Player of the Week. He's had some wild 6 total touchdown performances, and then other games where he's just shut down. His ratings actually look really good for his overall. His main problem, without looking too closely, is that he doesn't seem to have a deep ball in his game. They're actually quite stacked at wide receiver. They just took one at 7 overall too, and he has not played. No catches on the year. He's got the day 1 starter tag. He's just too far behind the other wide receivers. They've got a rookie tight end who I think actually is starting. They do boast a pretty good offensive line. It's not amazing, but their weak spots are really not that weak. Their center is the only one that I'd really be concerned about. They've got a couple of really good young players on the right side in Parker and Redmond. Redmond is a monster with 99 strength, 6'8", huge guy. Jeffrey Simmons highlights the defensive front. Dontrell Dawkins also very good. They've got a second-year X-Factor player in Alex Barkley, who I believe we saw last year. Pretty solid at middle linebacker. I can't actually remember if this is a 3-4 team or a 4-3. Their cornerback room is pretty alright. Just nobody that really stands out. Stephon Harris looked like he might be a high-level player in a few years, though. And then safety is probably the weakest position group on this defense, but it's not really that bad. A lot to get to yet today, though, with the end of the season almost here, so I'm going to try and go through this one a little more quickly. Broncos have punted to start. Trey Lance will take off on the first play, and he runs right into Ojabo, but manages to fall forward, so it won't be a sack, just a rush for no gain. Second down passing, and he finds Gabe Davis, not sure where Divine Diablo was going, but that's a first down for Tennessee. Nothing on first down, so let's check in on second. A handoff to Tony Pollard, and he just tripped over Baron Browning. That'll go down as a TFL, but it would be more accurate to say he just fell down at the right time. Unfortunately, even with Eric Lamb coming up the middle, Lance is able to dump it off to Tony Pollard for a first down. But this time, Eric Lamb won't be denied. He flattens Pollard in the backfield. That's another loss of 3 on a run play. Would lead to 3rd and 5 at midfield. And that's off the hands of Johnny Fender. The punt would pin Denver at the 1, and the Broncos would go 99 yards all the way for the touchdown. Took a while, of course, so we're almost at the end of the first quarter now, and the Titans will convert a 3rd down here. That's Gabe Davis again. The Titans offense is trudging down the field here, not any huge pickups, but they keep moving. Lamb is in on Lance here, but he gets it away in time. Good pickup for Pollard, and that's a big part of Lance's value. Very good at avoiding sacks in a few different ways. Now he's got nowhere to go though, and he's brought down by Eric Lamb. Sack number 25 on the season, now alone in 2nd place all time for single season sacks. Lance having trouble escaping again. He dumps it off to Fender, but that'll be short of a first down. It'll be 7-3. And Denver scores another touchdown, 57 yards to Jerry Jeudy. It's been a while since they've had a big play like that. 2nd and 8 now, and Lamb comes through again. He lays the wood on Pollard, who is not having a good day, both in terms of yardage and in terms of getting laid out. But here's Josh Palmer getting open against Parker Finley. Some room to run for him, and he's close to midfield. Titans are trudging again, but have reached the red zone. 2 minutes to go in the half already. Here comes Bryson, a backup defensive tackle, but he does not have the speed to chase down Lance, who gets away easily, and fires to Josh Palmer for a first down. I thought he'd run, but a nice crossbody throw there. Picks up more than he would have on the ground. 1st and goal, trying to throw on the run. He's taken down by Browning, but falls across the line. It's not a sack. Similar effect, though, as now it's 2nd down. Lamb chasing. Lance gets it away just in time. A lot of traffic, though, and it's incomplete. Actually, an incredible throw to Davis. He just couldn't hang on in traffic. Wiley was the one to break it up. Surtain almost picks it. Tennessee settles for 3 again, and they've got the ball back in the second half, down by just 8 points. Still very much in this, although it may not help them, as the Texans are up 15 at halftime. Lance is running away from slow defensive tackles again, and he'll pick up another first down. Looking to pass here on first down, doesn't like what he sees. He's going to run through an arm tackle from Lamb, and Draymond Jones can't bring him down quickly enough to prevent a first down. Lance has a bit of an X factor as a scrambler that we haven't seen from other athletic quarterbacks, but this time he's on a huge boot on the play action, and he runs right into Ojabo. Loss of 8, now 3rd and 14. Lance just dumps it off to Fender, and he'll fight for a few more yards, but not enough to convince the Titans to go for it. They will punt, and Denver takes a 2-score lead. Back on offense, it's 2nd and 3. Lance fires to the left, and it's off the hands of Caleb Farley. That was right to him. They'd convert, but now 3rd and 7 again. Lance escaping Lamb, and he's got tons of space. Somebody was not in their correct zone. That's going to be a first down. I think Lance is the leading rusher in the game right now. Throwing downfield for Davis, but it's too far, and Surtain picks it off. Chance for a return, but he can't navigate the traffic. But it's a big play for the superstar. Going to make this 4th quarter comeback even tougher, especially since Denver uses it to add 3 more points. It's 24-6. That's a 3-score lead now, and Trey Lance is having to do all kinds of crazy stuff just to pick up 9 yards, which normally is a good gain, but they're going to need more than that at this point in the game. Under 7 minutes to go. Lance is scrambling again. Simmons is chasing, but the veteran can't bring him down. A good play by Farley to get off his block and make the tackle, but it's a first down for Tennessee. Up to the 33-yard line. Eric Lamb fighting his way up the middle, but Lance gets it away again. A little toe tap from Tony Pollard, and that's 4 yards. Under 5 to go. Good coverage, and Lance runs right into Ojabo. 2nd sack of the day for him. Not good pocket awareness on that play for Lance. That's going to make it 3rd and 13. They might kick if they don't get it here, but he's going to find the rookie tight end Evans on the corner route. Now 1st and goal, some confusion for Denver. Lamb almost gets there, but it's a touchdown for Joshua Palmer. Tennessee is not dead yet, and they're still not dead, technically, but they're down 14, no timeouts, 30 seconds to go. Lance avoids Lamb once more. Time is ticking off the clock rapidly. Lance is just going to check this one down to Evans. He'll have a first down, but that's not really going to matter, as the clock is going to run out here. The Broncos defensive coordinator apparently doesn't realize it. He's still looking at his play sheet. Would not be surprised if the Titans upset a division winner and we see them again in the divisional round. But it's a 16-1 season for the Broncos. I thought Lance looked really good, but the offense just didn't have very much going on. The run game wasn't very good, and in the passing game, they seemed to run a lot of high percentage, low ceiling plays. Jerry Jeudy, though, 185 yards, 57 of them on that long touchdown. That means only 83 passing yards to the rest of the team. He's got to be our player of the game. Lance spread it out a lot, 4 guys with just over 50 yards, nobody else over 50 for Denver. A bunch more tackles for Parker Finley in this one. He's all over the place every game. 2 sacks for Ojabo, and where's Eric Lamb? Excuse me? Hey, rookie Keegan Talley got a tackle, but 3 tackles, 2 for loss for Lamb. I don't know why he doesn't have a sack listed here. Sometimes when the quarterback starts to scramble, it gets counted as a TFL for some reason. That's not common though, and I know he had 2 TFLs against Pollard. Here's the play as it happened live one more time. It's not like that would have been attributed to somebody else. Since I hadn't exited the game yet, I went and looked at the highlights. I found the play. It says it's a sack. It turns out I did actually look at this play through the highlights menu while I was recording initially. And the only thing I can guess here is that I did the hit stick animation because I'm addicted to the hit stick. And both player models just kind of crumple and they don't actually make contact. So maybe the game thinks that Lance just gave himself up and doesn't credit anybody with a sack. I don't know. Anyways, we've got an upgrade for Parker Finley. Mostly awareness, which is unfortunate. He's been really good though. Definitely my favorite non-superstar player on this defense. And we are into wildcard week officially. Let's take a gander at the standings. The Steelers had the second best record in the league this year. The Bengals faltered down the stretch a little. I think they still ended up with the 5 seed though, so maybe it doesn't matter that much. The Texans bounced back at the end of the year with a 3-game win streak, starting with their win against us. Jacksonville unfortunately had a totally lost season with Shields being out for much of the year. The Patriots are back on top of the AFC East, which was not a very good division. The Dolphins somehow almost got a winning season with a couple late upset victories, including over the Steelers. Couldn't quite finish it out though. And the Jets had a really bad Super Bowl hangover. They were 4-11 before winning their last 2. Denver, of course, wins the West. The Chargers end up sneaking into the 7 seed, which for a while was going back and forth between the Chiefs and the Raiders. Pretty strong division in terms of win percentage, but Denver had a relatively easy schedule and the other 3 were very inconsistent. Bit of a slump for the Super Bowl losers as well. They do go 9-8, winning the division, which last year they were the wild card, I believe, at 10-7. Really bad year for the Packers. Talk about that more later. The Falcons really fell off at the end of the year, lost 4 straight. So Tampa takes the division pretty easily. They won 3 straight to end of the year. No playoffs for Lamar Jackson. The Cowboys take the top spot in the NFC, 13-4. I want to say they were the 2 seed behind the Seahawks last year. The Giants fall in a couple games behind them, still one of the best teams in the NFC, tied for the second best record. Commanders were in line for the 7 seed for a while, but lost 3 straight to close out the year. Instead, the Rams sneak in. Seahawks win the division with a late surge over the Cardinals. My Vikings fan heart is overjoyed to see that the Packers were 3-14, randomly blew out the Saints at one point, 52-7. Embarrassing for the Jets to be picking at 5 here. Unfortunately, looking pretty likely that I'm going to have to play as a Packer next year, but I guess I'm okay with that so long as they lose a lot. Finally, let's check out some stats. 87 total tackles for Eric Lamb, 62 solo. I think the sort of mark that I set for a really good interior lineman in terms of tackles was 68, 1 per quarter. And Lamb almost had that in solo tackles alone, 20 TFLs as well, and 25 sacks. Unfortunately, can't fix that. I think there is a tool out there, but as far as I know, it only works for Madden 22. I could try it anyways, but I'm worried it would destabilize stuff, so not worth it. 1 deflection, apparently. I don't remember that at all. 4 forced fumbles, 2 recovered. He's got to be Defensive Player of the Year. And here he is on the all-time single-season sacks leaderboard as well. Of course, he should be a couple spots higher on this, but we'll just have to pretend, and that's okay. Parker Finley had 199 tackles, which is insane. I do think defensive stats are elevated for games that are played. Everything from tackles to turnovers, that's just kind of how Madden is. You're going to throw 30 interceptions as a quarterback, and you're going to get a lot of defensive stats as well. I don't remember Parker Finley having a 35-yard fumble return, but apparently he did. Other team stats, 12.5 sacks for Ojabo, 10 for Browning. A lot of them were the kind of play where the quarterback just runs into the edge rusher. They weren't great pass rushers, but that's still alright. Terrell Posey has 7 interceptions. I believe he had 1 for a touchdown. I think I said that was Simmons earlier, but I think that's wrong. Surtain had the least out of the starting corners. I'm not sure if his catching rating is lower or if it's just because he wasn't thrown at as much. 38 deflections, which is an insane number. I talked about this earlier in the year, and this is basically pass breakups as well, but the game doesn't count it that way in simulating, so these guys are going to be way ahead in that category. Lamb leads in fumbles. Finley is second. He's second in a lot of things here. Matt Murray didn't put up a ton of numbers on the year. That's not uncommon for a nose tackle. 5 sacks is quite good, but he's very much a run stopper, so he wasn't on the field for a lot of passing plays. It seems to me that Rosie was inconsistent, and that really contributed to the offense being boom or bust each drive. But 4,600 yards is awesome. A little under 2-to-1 touchdowns to interceptions, but I think early in the year it was 1-to-1, and late in the year it was about 4-to-1. So some huge improvements in his sophomore season. Hopefully he'll continue to develop well. Meanwhile, almost 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns for Javonte Williams. A really good season. I almost thought it was going to be more touchdowns because he had so many down the stretch. Johnny Hightower, I think, was our power back. He vultured a few. And then Ron Bowles, the backup tight end, I think got that Noah Fant tight end jet sweep at the goal line a bunch. So 8 carries, 18 yards, and 5 touchdowns for him. Jerry Jeudy had almost 1,700 yards, only 7 touchdowns. Of course, we were pretty run heavy near the goal line. Pierce and Sutton also break 1,000 yards. Our tight end was a big red zone target with 8 touchdowns. Not much for Javonte. Almost a quarter of the yards and that touchdown were on one play. Unsurprisingly, Finley led the league in total tackles by a lot. He was a little lower on solo tackles, however. Lamb, of course, leads the league with 25 sacks. Adrian Hutchinson ended up catching up to Rousseau. Keep in mind this stat board is dumb. It only shows the top however many guys in terms of tackles. But in terms of top players, usually that only excludes defensive backs. Lamb wasn't at the top for TFLs, but pretty darn close. Way more sacks than the rest of these guys, obviously. He also had the most forced fumbles. Finley was second, again just a benefit of not being simmed. Allen Bailey led the league in yards, but I think in interceptions as well. Although that yardage number would have broken the record if Hargrove and Allen hadn't both put up better numbers last year. Looks like another MVP caliber season for Allen though. Great year for him in terms of low interceptions, and the most touchdowns of anybody in this range. Lamar's pretty close, but with all those interceptions, unless he had a lot more in the running game than Allen, I think it's got to be Allen's award to lose, despite having a 7-10 season. Pretty good year for Commanders' second-round pick Martin Wagner. 30 touchdowns to 9 picks. A lot of guys here in the mid-4,000s. And then if you keep scrolling, you finally get to Chris Hargrove. Gotta know what's going on with this guy. Looks like I think 3 upgrade points this year. Probably wasn't a focus player, so that's not terrible considering how high rated he is already. But only 22 touchdowns, only 8 picks, which is a big improvement from me controlling him. It looks like he was maybe getting a lot of in-game small injuries or something. Wasn't super efficient most of the time when he was playing the whole game. Doesn't look like they were super passing heavy either, but he only went over 300 twice all year. One of them was the last game of the season. His ratings are way better than this, so it's probably a playbooks thing, maybe a team thing. Najee Harris leads the league in rushing touchdowns again with 23. Another really good year for Breece Hall. Nick Chubb is climbing the all-time rushing leaderboards. And there's a whole lot of other guys above 1,000 yards this year. In terms of receiving, Jerry Jeudy actually led the league, at least in yards. Sammy Rice looks like he led it in receptions. Stephon Diggs, by the way, is only like 4,000 yards or something behind Jerry Rice all time. Lots of other guys on this list that we've seen. I noticed Mechie is up there despite being pretty low overall relatively. Jameson Williams makes the list as a Viking, which is strange. Gesicki and Pitts are the top tight ends. No 1,000-yard receivers for the Jets, and only 800 yards for Garrett Wilson. That's on 56 catches, 10 and 152 in the last game of the year. Doesn't look like he was hurt, at least not significantly. I guess the playbook just sucks. I want to quickly run through all the top 10 picks and then other standouts. Second overall, Deron Brown, star dev. I think he was their third corner and maybe not even the whole year. Hard to look at numbers for a corner though. Number 3 overall was Marcus Reddick. I liked him a lot pre-draft, and he actually picked up 4 interceptions. Plenty of tackles, 1 TFL. By the way, skipping offensive line, of course, number 4 overall, Tremaine Lacey. Buried on the depth chart, didn't play much. 5 tackles, 3 for loss, but at 23, not getting that rookie development will hurt. Speaking of Colin Crocker, the number 5 overall pick, buried on the depth chart and did not play. Granted, this is a really good room. 2 31-year-old vets, that should make some room for him next year. 7 overall, Jabari Harrison, pretty good. Pretty good as the third best receiver on the team, 615 yards, only 1 touchdown, however. Tally, we already talked about today, also buried on the depth chart. Both him and Crocker are star dev, by the way. 10th overall is Ellen Morant. Looks like he got plenty of playing time. Lots of solo tackles and a pick. Terrain Blade, I believe 12th overall. He had superstar. I think he played over Juan Madden to be the number 3 corner. Picked up an interception. Then another of my draft crushes, Casey Manning. Didn't put up a ton. They actually signed Pat Freiermuth to a 5-year deal, and he's like a 92 overall. We saw Isaiah Henley in our Ravens game. I was not really a fan of him. He has normal dev. Only 3.1 yards per carry. I don't think he was getting most of the goal line touches. Jaquelin Winslow we've talked about. He's an X factor. 113 tackles, 7 TFLs, 2.5 sacks. Really good year for a rookie. And then Raekwon Banks. Not somebody I looked at much, but 16 TFLs, 7 sacks. And I don't think he played nearly every down. Then Eric Brooks as a rookie, almost 800 yards, 6 touchdowns. That's really good for a rookie tight end. Third one drafted. The Cowboys signed Derrick Henry to a 1-year deal, J.K. Dobbins to a 3-year deal, and then drafted this guy in the first round. One way or another, Dobbins ended up a Ram. Don't know why they moved the guy with a longer deal. Clearly made the wrong move because a few picks later, the Falcons got Devontae McDowell. We just saw him a few weeks ago, and apparently he's an X factor. Definitely not generational, but I think he could be really good. They do have a good starter in Trent Ingram, who we also saw, of course. So he didn't get a ton of touches, but he was pretty good with what he got, especially in the passing game, which is his forte. That's the last first rounder worth looking at. Eric Lamb, by the way, was of course voted into the Pro Bowl. Really close to another upgrade. I think we'll get it before the playoff game. We'll look at the playoff bracket and sim the first round to start next episode. This one's already gone really long. I am just going to do one playoff episode. And to avoid the timestamp being a spoiler, if we don't make the Super Bowl, I'll fill the extra time by playing the Pro Bowl or looking at more stats or something like that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Till then, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, think about liking or subscribing, and have a good one.